Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes here with day number 26 of my 31 Days of Horror. Today's movie is one that, to be completely honest, I'm not sure why I chose to watch it. I had seen it once before, I didn't love it, but I was flicking through my shelf and thought, why not? Today's movie from 2006, it's titled Stay Alive. So before I get into my thoughts of this movie, we'll quickly run through the plot as usual. It's just essentially a killer video game movie. They come and go throughout times. I think there was one last year, Choose or Die, if I remember correct. I think that was the name of the movie. But either way, the intro to this one is there's this gamer. He's testing out this video game called Stay Alive. It's meant to be the next big horror game or whatever. He's testing it out, and pretty much however you die in the game, that's how you die in real life. So he ends up dying, and that's where we get introduced to our lead in this movie, Hutch. He was friends with this guy. The guy who passes away, his sister gives all these video games to Hutch, and Hutch and a group of his friends end up playing this game, Stay Alive. And they soon catch on that what I said in the intro, how you die in the game is how you die in real life, and there's this whole mystery and I guess sort of curse with this game and whatever. It's sort of hard to explain, but it is very simple at the same time. But I'm sure you guys got the gist of it. Let's get into my thoughts of 2006's Stay Alive. Now, this movie just screams 2006. Whenever a movie takes place or is filmed in the early 2000s, it's just so obvious to me. That's where I grew up. I was born in 2001. So, everything in the early 2000s, it's very noticeable to me. And as I said, this film just screams 2006. The characters' looks and their outfits, everything is meant to look a little bit edgy, just the way things were in 2006, I guess. The modern video game graphics, I'll get into that a little bit later. The hip names, there's a character called October, and you got Hutch, and Frankie Muniz's character is called Swink. That is not a fucking name. They don't specify if that's a nickname or not, but he's getting called Swink, and he's wearing one of those poker visor things sideways. It's so 2006. Like, if you've seen this movie, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. I really feel like this film is just one of those time caught in a bottle scenarios, as in video games are becoming popular around this time. Around this time would have been like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, something like that. And these filmmakers go, yep, there's a market for a crossover here, and as I said, they probably think that the graphics are so cutting edge. I remember like playing games back in the day and you go, oh my god, it's like I'm looking into real life, and then you go back and revisit these games and the graphics are fucking terrible. You get so much of that in this movie. Like, they're like, well, this game is so immersive and it's great, and it's like you're watching 4 pixels bounce around the screen. It's like it's developed on a potato. It's fucking terrible, but as I said, it's so 2006. It's time caught in a bottle. There's so much shitty CGI in this movie, but it just adds to the charm. I think that's one thing to sort of carry this movie. It's just sort of got this charm of a simpler time, 2006. Like, it really is a moment taken in time, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, there's one thing that I do want to bring up before I move on and forget. There were moments in this film where the audio was a little bit off. Now, I'm not saying the complete film. Majority of this film, the audio was completely fine and normal. But there were certain parts where, sort of the best way I can think to describe it was almost like a recording of a recording. Just seemed very muffled and out of place. And I'm not sure if anyone else noticed it going back and rewatching this movie, but there was some parts where it was really obvious. One part in particular that really comes to mind is there's a part where it almost sounds like there's not even a mic on our characters, and the mic is way back where the cameras are, and you can only just make out what our characters are saying because it sounds like there is legitimately no mic on them. I'm just guessing it's because I watched the director's cut of this movie. It comes with the theatrical and director's cut. Obviously I'm going to pick the director's, got some added stuff in there, why not? Because I'm guessing that a finished film wouldn't have audio that out of place in it, so I'm guessing those scenes are put in from the director's cut. But if you've seen the director's cut and you notice the same thing, let me know in the comments below. But very distracting in this movie. Another moment that I thought was really noticeable, and I'm just again going to put it down to the director's cut and it not being a completely polished cut of the movie. There's one part particular right in the middle of the film where two scenes just come together and it feels very jarring and out of place. It almost feels like there was a scene between them and it just got picked out and they smushed it back together, and it is so noticeable. Like, I remember I was locked in and then it just sort of took me out of it. I was like, what the fuck was that? Again, I'm just going to put that down to the director's cut. It just felt very jarring and out of place, but I thought that was something to take note of as well. But to get back into the story, I'm sure you picked this up just from the plot description before and sort of my vibe talking about this movie. It's very cheesy. It's one that is hard to take serious and think it's a legitimately good film. But as I said, it has this kind of charm about it, and it tries its best to do well with what it has. There's a part where it tries to get emotional, but it's hard to be invested and show that emotion when I just saw old mate get run down by a horse that was pulled out of a PlayStation 1 game, you know, a horse and carriage that has the graphics of like a Nintendo 64. Like, it's hard to, you know, put your emotion into that. It's actually quite funny. One part of this movie that I actually do like is sort of the climax. Again, it's cheesy, it's got terrible CGI, it's honestly kind of dumb. And watching the movie, I fell asleep, and I remembered, as I said, I've only seen this movie once before, but I fell asleep and woke up sort of as the climax was ending. I'm like, oh, no, I actually like this part, so I rewinded it, maybe like 10 minutes back or something, so I didn't miss too much, and just watched that part. The ending, the climax is kind of okay, it's interesting enough, but overall, this movie isn't great, but at least it's not overly boring. It's got some sort of entertainment factor. I've said this so many times in my review. I'm sure you guys are going to be moving your lips along with me as I say it. The worst thing a movie can be is boring. A movie that is bad doesn't mean that it's not entertaining. And I don't think this movie is, you know, a snooze fest or anything like that. So I'm going to give Stay Alive from 2006, as cheesy and, you know, on paper as bad as it is, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, a generous 5 out of 10. It was fine enough. I actually know there are people who really do like this movie. These sort of video game come to life movies, or sucked into the video game, or, you know, you die in the video game and it happens to you in real life. I don't think I've ever seen one that I genuinely enjoyed. As I said in my intro, the last one I can really think of was Choose or Die that came out last year, and I don't think anyone liked that. That was shit. But either way, thank you for joining me for day number 26, guys. If you've seen Stay Alive, let me know your thoughts of it in the comments below. And I'll see you tomorrow for day number 27. Peace.